Good morning, students. Today we will continue with one more topic that is deep vein thrombosis. Okay, deep vein thrombosis. Sometimes it is also referred as thrombophlebitis. So let's begin. So I'm going to share PPT as of now. Yeah, here it is. Deep vein thrombosis or thrombophlebitis is a part of a condition called venous thromboembolism. Okay, deep vein thrombosis occurs when blood clot or thrombosis formed and within the vascular tissue or within deep veins of the body. Okay, usually in the extremities like legs or hands, etc. Deep vein thrombosis can cause leg pain, swelling, edema, but it may occur with or without any symptoms. Deep vein thrombosis is a serious condition because blood clots in the veins can break loose and travel through the bloodstream and reach other parts of the body like lungs, brain, or heart itself through circulation. Okay, which may ultimately cause complications like a shock, heart attack, or blockage in the coronary artery, or pulmonary edema, like various complications it can cause depending upon where it causes obstruction. Coming to the clinical manifestations, so basically we will see wherever there is a venous blockage or thrombosis, we will see peripheral edema of the affected extremity. So here in picture we can see left leg is affected, so which shows severe edema and swelling. Even his right leg also previously I think it has been affected, and you can see the signs of ischemia and diseased leg. Okay. Okay, here is one more picture where the left leg is affected. Okay, so tenderness, which is usually occurs later after development of inflammation and thrombosis. Okay, so usually it can be determined by physical examination, changes in color, temperature, clammy skin, then skin turgor, swollen portion of the extremities. So like that, various symptoms we can identify. Students, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ?
Yes, sir.
ವಿಜಯ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Yes, sir. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
I'm asking Mariappa, Sangeeta ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Just respond me.
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
Okay, pa, then fine. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ಮಳೆ ಬೇರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ವೆದರ್ ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಲಿಸನ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್. ಓಕೆ ಫೈನ್, ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ it can also cause, na helange, if it affects pulmonary branches, okay, it can cause pulmonary embolism. Okay, in some cases signs and symptoms of pulmonary embolisms are evident in case of deep vein thrombosis. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಥ್ರಾಂಬಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ, ಸೊ ವೇರ್ ಇಟ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಕ್ಲೂಡ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗನ್, so there particular symptoms will appear. Like in case of pulmonary embolism, we can see symptoms like decreased oxygen saturation, means decreased pulse oximetry levels, or difficulty in breathing, tachypnea, chest pains. So like that, various symptoms. If it occurs at heart, coronary arteries, definitely we can get symptoms like symptoms of angina pectoris. So like that. So if it occurs at brain, so definitely it gives different symptoms related to brain and nervous system. Okay. So this is a condition of massive iliofemoral venous thrombosis. The entire extremity becomes massively swollen, okay, tense and painful. Look at the pictures where there is a swollen extremity, means affected extremity, bluish and the purplish discoloration is there. So it definitely shows the signs of poor blood supply, okay, to the leg. So it will be very cool to touch. So that's also described here. So like these clinical manifestations we can see at the condition. Pathophysiology. So due to any of these factors, either because of thrombosis formation or either because of inflammation, there will be condition where there will be reduced blood flow. Venous stasis occurs when blood flow is reduced, when venous veins are dilated and skeletal muscles is concentration is reduced. Okay, it causes some sort of damage. Okay, damage to the internal lining of blood vessels, which creates a type of inflammatory process. Okay, so when those veins get inflamed, so that releases clotting factors, which results in formation of thrombus. Okay, usually frequent formation of thrombus accompanied by phlebitis. First phlebitis will happen, then thrombosis will happen, which is an inflammation of the walls of the veins. So what happens if thrombus develops? Okay, it starts aggregation. Okay, so venous thrombosis starts aggregating, that forms a platelets. Okay, platelets and fibrins attached together, which forms a mesh-like structure, and further it develops into a solid block. Okay, solid block which obstructs the vein. Okay. So further that fibrin, everything will trap blood cells, other blood cells, and other many red blood cells, resulting in a complete blockage of the artery or vein. Okay, the tail can grow and can propagate in the direction of blood flow. Okay, usually in the direction of blood flow, if it is occurring at the veins, direction means towards. So vena cava means wherever there is a length of vein, it can grow along with the flow of the blood. Okay, forming a lengthy coagulated vein, so which completely entirely blocks the part of the vein. Okay, so that follows a successive layers of thrombus formation. Okay. So then what happens? So once that inflammation and thrombosis happens, that starts to defragment. Okay, so means fragment, the start formation of fragmentation. That is breakdown of this thrombosis. Okay, formation of the thrombus can occur spontaneously as it dissolves naturally. Okay, it can occur with an elevated venous pressure. Okay, so due to elevated venous pressure, some part of the formed thrombus will fragment itself and detach away, and it will travel along the bloodstream. ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಪೈಪ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ imagine plastic PVC pipes, water supply pipes with salty water. Okay, inside those pipes there will be formation of calcium flakes. Okay, sometimes those flakes will fragment themselves, and they will travel along with the water supply. Okay, even tanks. Okay, our terrace tanks where we store water. Okay, will have the same sort of effects. Okay, there will be formation of calcium flakes, which will be further travel along with the water supply, and sometimes it will affect the tap itself. Okay, so same like that, these thrombus will fragment themselves, and they will travel along the bloodstream, and further they can affect any other parts of the organs or body. So that converts into after acute episode of DVT, recanalization occurs, means the blood flow establishes itself by pressure or other alternative mechanisms. So the lumen will get free, and it typically usually occurs in very deep vein thrombosis conditions. So this is a type of cycle. It occurs repeatedly. Okay. So this poses an entire risk for this type of cases. So assessment and diagnosis. Early signs and symptoms, as I said, should be assessed through physical examinations and complete collection of detailed history and proper assessment. Okay, like inspection, palpation, even if you need, you can go for entire head-to-toe examination. So other diagnostic studies includes blood tests, Doppler studies, X-rays, ultrasounds. Okay, like that. Even if there is any obstruction in other parts of the organs, like lungs or brain or heart, they can go for CT scan, MRIs, etc. So it depends on the clinical manifestations, to what extent the patient has been affected. So in usually ultrasound studies, they will find proper blood flow is going on or not. If there is any obstruction, it can be visualized. Okay, usually formation of thrombus can be visualized in the Doppler studies. Okay, usually in Doppler studies, what happens, there will be color color observation. Okay, the person, those who studies this Doppler studies, will observe proper blood flow in the veins and arteries, by thus evaluating the condition. So in CT scan also, they can visualize the volume changes and formation of any thrombus in the veins, etc. So other diagnosis studies may also be performed depending on the clinical manifestation. Okay, so this regarding deep vein thrombosis. So prevention, how to prevention means deep vein thrombosis can be prevented, especially if patients who are considered at higher risk, okay, are identified in the early stage itself, or before the occurrence of actual thrombosis. So preventive measures can be taken. So graduated compression stockings can also be helpful. Compression stockings prevents dislodgement of thrombus. Okay. So various types of pneumatic compression devices and other forms of compression devices can be used. Intermittent pneumatic compression devices increases blood velocity beyond the velocity produced by stocking. So that ultimately prevents formation of this thrombus. Okay, recurrent compressions, passive exercises, recurrent compressions, or massaging, providing massaging can reduce the formation or chance of formation of deep vein thrombosis, or even stasis of blood can be prevented. Leg exercises encourage early mobilization and leg exercises to keep the blood circulation active. So what may be the complications? So peripheral bleeding or bruising can happen. Thrombocytopenia, so due to continuous coagulation and formation of thrombosis at particular site, thrombocytopenia will happen. A complication of heparin therapy means by chance as a treatment, we have not yet discussed regarding treatment, but we provide heparin for a treatment of such disease conditions. So continuous heparin therapy can be result in heparin-induced thrombocytopenia, so which is defined as sudden decrease in platelet count at least by 30%, okay, of the baseline value. Minimum range in 30% ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So such conditions will cause thrombocytopenia. Other complications may include drug interactions because of oral anticoagulants which interact with many other medications. So drug interactions are both this type of complications. Okay. Other than these complications, so depending on the formation of or blockage of this fragmented thrombus, so thromboembolism, pulmonary embolism, stroke, ಈ ತರದ conditions ಕೂಡ ಆಗಬಹುದು. Medical management, the usual objective for the DVT treatment is mainly prevention of thrombus formation, reoccurrence of thromboemboli. Okay, mainly we have to prevent deep vein thrombosis, further deep vein thrombosis. Then endovascular management we have to do. So endovascular management is necessary for deep vein thrombosis when anticoagulant therapy or thrombolytic therapy is contraindicated. Okay, so when we can't do thromboembolic therapy or heparin therapy, so ultimately there is no way to manage those thrombus. So endovascular means within vascular system we have to do some management, surgical management or some corrective management. Okay, that the danger of pulmonary embolism is extreme in such conditions. Okay, so next type of management is a type of invasive management where we will do this vena cava filter. Vena cava filter means at the places like superior and inferior vena cava we may place a filter. Okay, artificial filter which can filter the blood during its circulation. Okay, so that ultimately traps any sort of thrombus or emboli. So removing such things will cure the disease to some extent. So if we don't want any surgical management, pharmacological management, we have various types of pharmacological management. Usually heparin therapy is a treatment of choice. Measures for preventing or reducing blood clotting within vascular system are indicated in patients with deep vein thrombosis. So unfractionated heparin, there are two types or some types of heparin which may be used in this type of treatment. So unfractionated heparin is a treatment of choice where we use it for DVT. It is administered subcutaneously to prevent development of DVT. Okay, by intermittent or continuous IV infusions. So slow IV infusions we will tell, either through any DNS or NS. So we will dilute this heparin and we will administer through IV for continuously for 5 days to prevent any extension of thrombus and development of new thromboemboli. Okay. So formation of prevention of thrombin should be main goal here. Then low molecular weight heparin, subcutaneous low molecular weight heparins that may include medications such as deltaparin and other medicines which are effective in treatments for some sort of some cases of DVT. Okay, they prevent the extension of thrombus and development of new thrombin. So warfarin like oral anticoagulants and additional supplementary vitamin K is also beneficial. So for extended coagulation, anticoagulant therapy. Nursing management. So usually assessment of patient with deep vein thrombosis includes physical examination, diagnostic measures, proper blood tests, etc. So for those things, the nurses should properly assess the patient's condition and report to the doctors appropriately. Okay, so which helps the doctor to decide which type of diagnosis they have to go through. Okay. So these things are not necessary. So just we'll go to nursing diagnosis. Based on assessment data, the major nursing diagnosis can be formulated, like ineffective tissue perfusion related to interruption in venous blood flow. Okay, this is a type of major nursing diagnosis. Ineffective tissue perfusion means poor circulation in the particular part of the tissue, so which can be written as like this. Okay, ineffective tissue perfusion. This is a major nursing diagnosis. Then other things may include impaired comfort related to vascular inflammation. You can also write altered pain, altered sensory perception, or altered pain, depending upon the patient's assessment. Okay, based on assessment data, so we can formulate nursing diagnosis according to priority. Okay, then risk for impaired physical mobility, or even you can write impaired physical mobility related to discomfort and safety precautions. So yeah, these things can also be written. Deficient knowledge regarding physiology of condition related to lack of information of disease condition or of a treatment regimen can be written. So as we come to nursing interventions, other than planned nursing diagnosis, must and essential nursing interventions like providing comfort, passive exercises, then compression therapy. So these should be essentially written in the any part of the examination or anything which you are following. Okay. So passive exercises and positioning, frequent change of position should be written every time. So usually changing of position itself will provide some sort of passive exercises or comfort to the patient or improves the passive circulation. Okay. Usually when we do exercises, what happens? These muscle movements themselves will provide compression to the blood vessels, okay, which facilitate blood circulation in the extremities. So extremities blood circulation ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾಸಿಸ್. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯೋವಾಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಸರಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ, BP ಲೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So if we don't provide passive exercises, venous stasis will happen. Means the blood will stay at the venous and it will not return to the circulatory system properly. So antadana prevent ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. And even it can also prevent formation of swelling. Okay, edema, swelling ಅಂತ conditions na kuda prevent ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So these things we should be properly take care. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದನ್ನ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರಾ ಇವತ್ತಿಂದು? Has anyone taken attendance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, pa. So before discharging, we should provide proper education regarding oral anticoagulants, which should be taken very carefully. It should not be taken too excessively or it should not be reduced. So balanced and timely administration of oral medication should be properly explained to the patient, and further blood tests which should be scheduled should be properly informed to the relatives or patients, so that they should be cautious about further tests to be done. And alcohol should be strictly avoided in such cases. A person who refuses to discontinue the use of alcohol should not receive anticoagulation therapy, because chronic alcohol intake decreases their effectiveness. Okay. Then activities, improved activities should be suggested to the patient, so that patient will not again go for any sort of venous thrombosis or venous stasis. So this is the ultimate summary. So the one of the main causes for venous thrombosis is venous stasis. Okay, that is stagnant blood flow along with additional triggering factors like environmental factors, cold weather, cold extremities, and pathological conditions like any heart diseases, poor cardiac output, or reduced blood pressure. So various factors are contributing to this. Even aging also will contribute to such type of conditions. So with proper passive exercises, activities, and compressions, massages, we can reduce the formation of DVT itself. So prevention is better than cure. So that's the ultimate summary for these conditions. Okay, I think you understood the class. So I will stop recording here.